During the 70s, you, a wealthy British aristocrat, no less than a lord and a baron, have a strong passion for motorsport. Using your own money with the clear intention to have fun, you establish your own racing company. Along the way, you showcase wealth and extravagance on the track, such as helicopter flights, Rolls Royce cars, and five-star hotels long before extravagance became the norm in Formula One. In a few years, this whole party will come to an end and you will start looking for a new hobby. How would you continue a racing career like this? Of course, by establishing your own motorcycle manufacturing company to give a boost to the declining British motorcycle industry. When it comes to unique motorcycles, few can compare to the quirky history and aristocratic flair of the British Heskett, a company that has taken on several interesting transformations over the past 30 years while producing the same motorcycle since 1982. In the 1980s, the British motorcycle industry was virtually non-existent. It was a lifeless body, persisting long after it should have been relegated to obscurity. Royal Enfield, BSA, and Velocity ceased to exist in the early 70s. Norton disappeared with Norton Willys Triumph in 1978. Triumph still maintained its existence within the Meriden Motorcycle Cooperative, continuing to produce outdated models that were sold to nostalgic buyers who willingly turned a blind eye to the evident poor quality control implemented by the company. Heskett entered the market with the intention of reviving the dying British motorcycle industry. Lord Alexander Fermar Heskett, the third Baron Heskett, fresh off his Formula One campaign, aimed to introduce a high-quality product that would put Britain back on the map for motorcycle manufacturing. Since the middle of the 1970s, he visualized this task in the form of a custom-made, superbly crafted, fully modern machine that would disrupt the dull British industry. Heskett, according to the company, was meant to be the successor to the acclaimed lineup of fast, superbly built British Vincent motorcycles. Or, as some put it, to become the two-wheeled Rolls Royce. That would truly be a gentleman's bike. In the year 1980, a highly promising new motorcycle was developed. The new bike showcased a 90-degree V-twin engine with a displacement of 992 cubic centimeters, air cooling, and a modern design meticulously created by British engine specialists hailing from Westlake. It was advertised as the first British with dual overhead camshafts and 4 valves per cylinder. For perspective, the closest competitor in specs would have been the 82 Triumph T140. Generated a total of 82 horsepower. These are quite decent numbers for a substantial push during the early 1980s. Fuel was supplied by Delorto carburetors, ignition spark from an electronic ignition system. The frame was a duplex structure made of steel tubes with the power unit serving as a stressed member. Marzocchi suspension was used at both ends, complemented by Brembo brakes. The appearance was understated yet modern. The initial generation was distinctive in that it had a group of stamped wheels. Instead of casting or forging, the wheels are composed of a rim connected to stamped metal spokes. Pay attention to the row of rivets. On paper and in photos, everything looked good. For that era, it was a beautiful with good technical specifications. He was definitely much more modern than anything that had been produced in Britain up to that point in time. Road tests showed that he was quite powerful and smooth. Production started in Daventry in 1982 at a cutting-edge facility, where state-of-the-art CNC milling machines and a computer-controlled quality control system were utilized for the manufacturing process. However, there were a few problems. Despite having good power, the performance was not sufficient. Mainly due to its heavy weight of 244 kilograms, periodic reviews were favorable but overall lukewarm, describing the V1000 as a stable bike with sufficient power and good brakes, but overall quite heavy. The company brochure was filled with polite but weak praises from the initial reviews. Soon after its market debut, issues arose with the gearbox, U-shifting, and poor cooling of the rear cylinder. Furthermore, the company operated on borrowed funds. Lord Heskett failed to secure necessary investments for the project during this time. Instead of having sufficient external investments, he independently established and financed the company, which resulted in a financial collapse of the operation. Heskett went bankrupt in 1982 after making just 139 motorcycles. However, that wasn't the end of Heskett Motorcycles. In 1983, Lord Heskett relaunched the brand and introduced a new model, the Vampire, a fully fared V1000 sport touring motorcycle. Only 40 were built. The ugly style, mediocre reviews, and constant reliability issues led to Heskett meeting its demise for the second time in '84. Wait, that is not all yet. Mick Brum, one of the testers in the Heskett development team, demonstrated genuine interest in preserving the brand. Brum Development Engineering Company provided repair services to existing Heskett owners. They also began making the V1000 in small amounts in eastern Neston, producing about 12 annually from 1984. Since 2011, Brum and a small group of assistants have been quietly maintaining Heskett, manufacturing handcrafted motorcycles for numerous years. Over the years, Brum's team has developed several versions, the main one being the updated V1000, in which many shortcomings of the original machine were eliminated. They were named EN10, which stands for Eastern Neston 10, where 10 represents modifications. Significant changes were made to the chassis in 1997 to create the V1000 Vartan. The sport motorcycle without plastic reached the prototype stage, but it was ultimately never put into production because of its limited appeal and lack of investment interest. In 2011, the brand passed into the hands of entrepreneur Paul Sleiman, who revived the brand by releasing a new limited edition. Recently, the company attracted attention again after launching a new website and releasing some images of the updated V1000. They also have a Twitter feed containing company updates and production information. The new Heskett is currently available for approximately £12,000 sterling without options, which is in fact slightly lower than the previous generations that were provided by Broom Engineering. These machines represent an updated limited series of motorcycles known as Kingswood 1000. The motorcycle is still recognizable as the original V1000 with updated details, including all modifications in both the N10, alongside chassis modifications in models like Vulcan, and many other detail changes aimed at enhancing the reliability and convenience of motorcycle use. The ongoing production of Heskett motorcycles speaks to the quirky nature of motorcycle enthusiasts. Here is an ill-conceived and poorly managed project that made many promises but ultimately failed, never truly disappearing. Production continued despite numerous brand deaths. Today, Heskett remains a tiny brand with loyal followers, like traditional British manufacturers. The chances of Heskett rising and taking the world by storm are already high, but that's not the point. They manufacture premium, one-of-a-kind machines for their limited group of loyal enthusiasts who desire a distinctive, uncommon, and authentic illustration of British noble motorcycle artistry.